And we're live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Trent, aka TD, joined by my co-host Sam slash Samika, and today we have Blocktunes in the house. Folks, how are you guys doing today?
We are good, thank you. Yeah, happy to be here. This is my first ever Twitch stream.
You want to go around and like introduce everybody, maybe?
Yes. Okay, I'll start with going to the right. So Crystal is the one who set up this connection. Thank you, Crystal. And Crystal has done several different things for the Blocktunes projects. Firstly, contributing some music and some vocals, and then also doing all of the amazing artwork for each NFT. So we've got a kind of animated sound meter that moves to the beat of the music, which Crystal's been creating. So yeah, thanks, Crystal. Do we want people to say a little thing, or should I just introduce everyone and then?
Yeah, you're doing great. I guess just keep going with
Keep
it.
going. Okay.
Yeah.
Next we have Mandy Groves. So Mandy is a singer who you were the #1 female artist on the app Voicey, which is very cool. Like people kind of contributing different instrumentals, and then like singers can sing over it. You described it as like the TikTok for music. So you were perfect to jump on this Blocktunes project, which was, a lot of being given a certain chord progression or a certain structure and singing a vocal over it. So Mandy has sung some amazing songs for Blocktunes, and it's a generative project. There's lots of generative versions of them as well. And your voice sounds amazing in all of them. So yeah, thanks, Mandy. I'll move on to Joe. Joe is forming a duo called 0171, who's one of the London artists that we're most excited about. And we were lucky to have Joe on the project. Kind of funny stories how Joe got involved, because Alex, who's joining later, is a mixing engineer producing for a lot of other artists. And an artist came to him and said, "Oh, there's this song by 0171, and I want my song to sound like that." And that's how Alex found out about Joe from 0171, and then started following them. And then when we did this project, we got them on board. So yeah, Joe has done some amazing songs for us, some amazing production for us, also including our Crazy Call Collective song. One of our songs has been used for the Crazy Call Collective, which is a kind of big NFT podcast, and Joe produced that one. And then we've also got a huge section of our project that is about rap. All of the rap artists and beats and stuff were mixed by Joe as well. So that's who we have in the house.
Excellent. Cool. All right. So Sandy, do you wanna kick it off with some questions?
Yeah. First, I guess we could kind of get into like the base of the project. So it's generative music. And do you kind of want to like talk about how exactly y'all actually piece together the different songs? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's more based on like the beat, right, and the progression. I'm not super familiar with music in terms of
Sorry, shout out
that
to
side of it.
Blue Dragon for the raid. 63 viewers now in chat. Thank you so much for the raid. I'm sorry. Continue.
So I'll try and explain the generative process. So I just had to charge my phone there. Yeah, so Blocktunes is a generative project, generative music. So we kind of took inspiration from the PFP projects that are generated using different visual traits. So we kind of said, like, what if we could do that successfully with music? What if we could create musical traits? So drums, bass, chords, vocal melodies. And what if we could create songs using those traits that are generative but also sound good, just the same way that a Bored Ape looks good, when you see it, it looks coherent. What if we could create songs that don't sound generative and they sound like good songs. So we decided to get a kind of collective of musicians together, which has grown bigger than we ever thought it would. I started by phoning, people that I'd played in bands with, maybe somebody who'd supported us at gigs and we'd liked their set, just somebody who had heard their music and liked it, said, do you want to be part of this project? And we ended up onboarding over 50 Web2 musicians into Web3, who all created the the musical traits for us. So, we had drummers doing the drums and obviously vocalists doing the vocals. We had producers, rappers, instrumentalists, and we created this collection generatively by asking them to write their music to set chord progressions and set structures, so that when you mint a song, that combination will sound good and it will work musically. So
while also being unique.
Sorry?
Cool. While also staying completely unique.
Yes, exactly. So one of our big goals was to have each NFT sound unique. No two songs are sounding the same. And there's a lot of variation because we've got 54 artists now, but we only did 501 NFTs, and we did that because we wanted each one to sound unique and to have that variation, rather than do 10,000 that all sound the same. And the buyer actually gets the copyright to their unique song, so they get the master recording to that unique combination that they have. So yeah, we wanted that variation so that that copyright is a valuable thing to have. Because if your song, just sounds the same as the next person's, then there's not much point in having the copyright to that. So yeah, that's the basis behind the project. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome Gambo to the stream. Thank you for joining us. And this is the most I think we've had on a single stream, right, Sam?
Yeah, we're really testing the 10-person limit.
Yeah, and welcome Al, Gambo and Al. Welcome to the stream.
Hey,
yo, thank you.
I never know whether to put Jack or like the character I use on the Twitter, like, but yeah.
You've got a few identities, Jack.
Do y'all both want to give like a short little introduction of like your role in the project?
Yeah. So so we first came up with the idea of Blocktunes in December, I think, and like I've been trying to think for a while what we could do in music that would like be a new idea, like an actually innovative idea using music. And I knew like Phoebe could do something like really special, and we knew lots of good musicians who could also do something special. But like we finally came up with the idea like generative music, like you could do something really cool with that and mix up the ownership and use a lot of the new things that NFTs provide that aren't being tapped into yet because the use cases need to be proven. So yeah, so that was how we got into it in December, and then me and Phoebe were the mentor initially, and then we quickly brought in Alex and a bunch of other people. But Al can say about what he's done as well. Like he's done so much as well. Like he's practically a co-founder.
Yo.
Can
you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Awesome. So it was around December, and I was very much a Web2 musician who had just had a record deal fall through, and Phoebe, who plays in my band, gave me a call and was like, so me and Jack are going to experiment with this generative NFT music thing. Do you want to be involved? And I was like, well, what is it? Like, what are we going to be doing? And I just kind of threw myself into it, just learned everything I could about the space. Obviously, everybody's been talking about music NFTs, so I wanted to find out for myself what it was all about. So I just kind of fully jumped into listening to like every podcast I could find on it, and jumping into Twitter Spaces and that sort of thing. And so I work as a producer and a mixer as well. So I've been in contact with a lot of musicians. Some are in this room. Hey, Mandy. And yeah, so I just kind of reached out to my network. Mandy, I know it was a good time for you as well when I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And also reached out to some of my favorite acts that I'd come across in London that I were pretty sure they weren't signed and would have the their own power to kind of get involved in something like this. So shout out to the guys from 0171 who make just really, really sick music. We were so buzzed when we heard that they'd be interested in joining. Yeah, it was just a really, really interesting project. And it was amazing to be this fairly central node through which all of this unbelievable creativity kind of became refracted through.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I was kind of one of our follow-up questions. So in terms of like going around and finding artists, was it a challenge to get everybody on board with doing something Web3?
Most people were pretty open-minded. I think that you kind of had to treat each musician like a little bit differently, because some were kind of like, well, I just want to do a bit of music. I'll contribute some recordings, but I don't really care about Ethereum. And I don't really know what an NFT is, even though you've tried to explain it to me. So, there were some who were a bit like this. But I would say like most people kind of were intrigued. Alex said at some point, like these musicians didn't want to miss out onto their early bird ticket into the Web3 space. So when we came to them, like some of them, when you said NFT, like they'd sort of heard good things about the space. They'd heard that there was good opportunity for artists, and they were, kind of curious to get involved. And I think it's been quite nice to see like some of our artists really being very suited to Web3. Like I think you, Mandy, like your style seems like Web3 was made for you, so I'm excited to see what happens to you next after this. I think the fact that you're kind of doing a lot with producers, with instrumentals, and it's exciting to see like some of the artists what might kind of follow on from this for them.
Excellent. Sam, I have one of these videos queued up. Do you want to take a look at one of these?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Not sure which one you have queued up.
I got these Blocktunes. Well, I think it's I think I've watched this one. Let's take a look, and you guys can commentate on this video here. Let me know if you guys have audio.
Sound like your favorite songs you might hear on the radio, or on a night out on the town when you chilling with your fellas or your lady bro. Fair share from initial sales, yeah, that's what we waiting for. We reward artists better than Spotify and all the other outdated models. It's a new way for music to be consumed. Rewarding everyone who participates. We hit it up to the moon, yeah. On Ethereum, the only people who commit are the people who have followed and supported. Can you hear me now? Say Blocktunes, the soundtrack to Web3, the first proper music NFT. The ultimate collaboration, a musical sensation, breaking the boundaries, music in a new way, a new model for music, setting the precedent, music in the metaverse is everything.
Yeah. Super
I think
cool.
my biggest question after hearing that is, was that generative or is that an original track?
So I think the one we chose to play there was the original, but there's generative version. That is a generative song. So there are generative versions of that, and you could, mint an NFT and get that one. You could get it in different combinations with different instrumentals. Yeah, so it is a generative song, and we wanted to write that one because we were kind of going to these events and, going on Twitter and trying to explain the project. And it was such early days for music NFTs. A lot of people were kind of like, generative music, like it was just quite a difficult concept for people to grasp. So we were like, what if we just kind of put it into a rap form and they can listen to a generative song about generative songs? So we asked this rapper if he would maybe kind of write a song that was actually about the project.
Yeah, so
I
it
did
was
well.
very meta. It was very meta, and like that song hasn't actually been revealed in the collection yet. Like none of the variations of that vocal have come out in the revealed songs, but those chords have. So like those chords are with other raps and stuff. So there's one for about the Gutter Cat Gang, and that uses the same chords in that one. So like one of the things that I like about it is like as when I was like younger, I like listening to all the different layers in a song, and like I'll be listening to like some of the Blocktunes, like just for pleasure because I enjoy listening to them, and I'll be like, oh, those chords will sound really good when this vocal like gets revealed, like and like I'm looking forward to more songs that I listen to with those chords and stuff. So it's like as well as the vocals like adding loads of depth, like I have like favorite chords, favorite vocals, and then they're the ones I want to get myself when they're all revealed.
That kind of brings into I had some questions about how rarity works within y'all's collection because there are some attributes, and here I can pull up the rarities just to maybe give more detail on what I'm trying to say. Like there's the different animations, the different like speed, and especially for instruments, like does there being fewer of them mean too much since it feels like a very subjective collection?
Exactly. I'd
Yeah,
say so with music, aesthetic is way more important than rarity. So it depends whether you like the song or not. Like I think maybe some of the chords that are my favorite chords might have ended up being generated more times, but that's good because there's more songs that will sound incredible with it. So like I think yeah, the rarity definitely doesn't necessarily mean it's how much people like the music. So that's like a different take as well.
yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, for the traits, I was just going to say actually, so we create our own API so we can update the metadata and stuff. And because we've some of the categories we like updated, and annoyingly like Opensea hasn't updated those, so some of the traits will like there's some columns in there that like for example, it says blockchain type twice and things like that. They're all things that'll get like sorted in the future. But like, when you actually play those songs, you can. Crystal has done all the animation for all of these, which is like incredible. So I hope we have a chat about that later. Like, what do you think about the animation?
I really like all the animations, and that was kind of the one place where I was thinking maybe that's where rarity becomes less subjective. But since the song behind it is so subjective, like it because I guess I was kind of thinking in terms of like what would be like a floor song, but there really isn't that in this collection. Like it's a different take on generative because each one really is unique versus I think with PFPs it's generative and they're unique, but like some of the most repeated traits just become floor traits very quickly.
Yeah,
but I just can't see that happening here.
Whichever song everyone collectively likes the least will be the floor.
Yeah.
It's like a really harsh battle of the bands.
Yeah.
On that topic though, will like somebody's or somebody's stem selling better than another, will that impact what they receive from the project at all?
No, so it's a collective and everyone gets a share of the entire royalties. The reason for that is if a song is really, really popular and it's like, and they like, this is like pipe, like unlikely, but say they release it as a single and it becomes massive, they're not going to sell it. So the trading volume off it is not worth much, but the entire rest of the collection will be selling much more because it'll have brought attention to the collection. So like, it's not fair to do it per stem that you've in your song that gets sold because the most popular ones will actually expect to be traded the least.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. Most popular ones are probably being held the closest to the chest.
Yeah, exactly. So and we think like I'm wondering like I think the trading volume with it might take a long time to occur, but then if it does occur, they'll sell for a lot more than floor. Like, because no one wants to sell them at the moment. Everyone just wants to keep the song or swap it with another song like in the collection. Like, people don't want to, like, they don't want to lose the blockchain, which is cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let me try to just work how I was gonna ask this. So since the owner gets like ownership of the master record, would they be allowed to reproduce their song anywhere? Like if I wanted to mint my block tune that I minted on Ethereum onto another chain as well.
No.
Okay.
So the NFT represents the ownership of the track. In order for it to work, you can't remove the ownership from the NFT. So whoever owns the NFT at that point in time in the world is the person that owns the copyright to that track, and you can't take it off the blockchain. That's written into the contract that the lawyers wrote. But so yeah, it wouldn't work if you would be able to transfer the copyright off, because then you'd no longer know who owned the copyright, because it'd no longer be on the blockchain. So it has to always remain as per the NFT, which is the whole point of NFTs anyway. Like, and the ownership of them is just a vehicle for ownership and creativity.
But he can use it to like make. He can like make his own. Like if he's making a movie, he can put it in the movie if he wants without
Oh yeah,
paying
yeah,
royalty
of
or anything
course.
like that. If you or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you
So
can, you can use the track however you want,
yeah,
but it sticks with the NFT. I think there's
exactly.
just confusion between your questions.
Yeah, sorry. So you can monetize it for whatever you want. You can release it as a single. You can like put it on a sync deal. You can put it in your film and then sell your film with that song in. You just can't move the ownership off the NFT. But you can, like, in terms of what you can do, you can pretty much. It says like in the terms and conditions, like you can exploit it for pretty much anything. But what the musician retains is they retain the source composition. So if it gets PRS royalties or they want to re-record the song themselves, like they can do that. So like the absolute IP is in the musician, but the ability to monetize the song that they have, the recording that they have, or remix it or do any of that, is the person who owns the NFT. So it's like we're switching round like what the fans own. The fans like actually take a share in the songs, and then yeah, it's a new like thesis of like this could work.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that that there's a lot of confusion around music copyright, and so what you'll own is the master rights to that recording, and you know maybe a lot of people don't really know, and I think there's a lot of questions about music NFTs, like what do we do if we do now have the rights, which actually for a lot of music NFTs these days you don't, and it's almost inseparable from just downloading it on iTunes, because 100 other people might have the exact same song and all of you have basically no rights apart from the you know the ability to download it, which is totally different from what you have with Blocktunes, which is you own that exact master recording and you can do whatever you want to do with it, release it wherever you want, yeah, try and sync it maybe with film, TV, and then on that point, like most people in the NFT space aren't really in touch with music supervisors. And one thing that we're really excited about is that we've been in conversation with yeah, like a few music supervisors who are incredibly buzzed about this idea of this collection of musical yeah, pools that kind of can all interlink and create new remixes of each other, so they can kind of say, well, we want a really like sassy R&B vocal, but we want, I don't know, more of a kind of uplifting drum and bass kind of vibe to it. You know, they can kind of create their own bespoke mix for their yeah, like whatever is they're working on, whether it's an indie film or whatever, and it's giving them a sort of unprecedented level of power in that domain, which is a kind of a really interesting byproduct of this whole experiment.
So it's customizable and they could actually choose the traits that they might want in their song.
Yes, it's worth pointing out that what we'd look to do is just like offer that as a service to the NFT holder, to say, so they can opt in to say like, do you want your NFT to be part of our kind of library offering to these music supervisors?
Which I think a lot of them would say yes, because it would be so cool to own a song and then hear that song, you know, synced in a TV program or, you know,
100%.
playing on the
And
radio or whatever it is.
yeah, and like monetize it in that way.
How
Yes.
would more people joining the collective work? Like, are there plans to add more artists, or kind of hard cap it just to keep it simpler?
So
I think
yeah, you go, Jack.
so like I think 500 songs is a lot, and we've revealed 90 so far, and it'll take a bit of time for everyone to get familiar with those songs, and then when we reveal the full 500, it'll take a bit more time. But obviously, like, you can't do enough music, like you can't saturate the music market that quick, and we're not doing like 10,000. It is music though, so it takes longer to get through. But like obviously, we definitely want to do a much bigger grand collaborative where we had like potentially far more musicians, and obviously all the musicians already in Blocktunes will get the opportunity to do that. But like we need to focus on create, like we've got a vision for what to do with the first set of music first, and then we've also got people who are approaching us to do like songs for their communities as well. So like we did one about the world of women, which they really liked, and we got flown over to LA to see them at the Women's Billboard of Music for that. So I think they're interested in that song. And then like we've done one for, it's called the Crazy Car Collective. Like it's like a big podcast where they had like people's first Twitter space was on there and things like that. So we've done like a song for them. So there's like lots of different avenues we can go down, and then also teaching people. But yeah, there'll definitely be more Blocktunes. But at the moment, it's 500 is going to be a lot. So that's exciting. Like I'm listening to them all the time, and like it's like having one massive playlist, and I'm really enjoying like exploring all that.
I think this may be something y'all wanted to announce on stream, but I'll bring up the question and we can hold it till later if you want to. What is the plan for the rest of the 500 that there are to mint?
That's what I want to know.
Distortion
So
there.
Yeah, so what we've done is up until now, we've been giving out mint list spots, and everyone on the mint list up until now who minted a blockchain, they've had a few months to do this. Their song has been revealed, and also they have the opportunity to, like, we're adding like game theory mechanics, like these are all the things that you can build, but there's so many things you can do and you need to do it one at a time. But for example, there's 50 songs in the Blocktunes treasury, and if the song that you've got that's been revealed, like you want to trade it, yes, you could potentially trade it with someone else as a blockchain, but you also have the opportunity with your revealed song to swap it at random with one in the treasury, one at the 50, so you can re-roll your blockchain like once, which is like a cool little game that we're adding. So then, like we said, like 90 songs is a lot, and we're going to loads of events now. Like we've been telling people about it for the last 3 months, and we're going to like Ethereum London on Wednesday. We were just at NFT Bristol, and we're playing all our Blocktunes, the first 90 that have been revealed at all these events, because like within the contract we're allowed to use it for any promotional material, because like ultimately it's going to be, the Blocktunes is going to be a bigger entity than what it is now. There's going to be like a story behind it. It's going to be a metaverse band and those sort of things. And then like right now we've stopped doing the mint list, and now we've gone made the sale public. So as of like during this stream now, you'll be able to mint them publicly. You won't need to get onto the mint list anymore, and then we'll just, as long as it takes until it sells out, and then we'll reveal all of the songs then once it's completely sold out. And in the meantime, all those 93 songs that have been revealed, you'll be hearing about them every day.
So, PD, did you have any other questions, or do you want to get the ones that are in the chat?
Yeah, we started a couple here. So David Alvayan asking, in practice, if this model catches on, there would be a demand for remix versions. So for example, a remix on Polygon, how would this work? And then also asks, looking at it from a producer standpoint, how to clear licensing for sampling?
Jack, do you want to answer the first question?
So can you show us the first one again?
Sure, yeah. If this model catches on, there would be a demand for remix versions. How would this work?
Yeah, so the person who owns NFT, would be able to like remix it. Whether you do it on another blockchain, so if you remix something and you create it on another blockchain, then you'd be the owner of that. And then if you sold on your blockchain, you'd no longer be able to create any more recordings or samples or whatever it was of the original one. But the remix that you've made, you'd still own. Now, whether you're allowed to do it on a different blockchain, that could cause issues. So, like at the moment, we've got a bunch of lawyers that are going through these questions, and they're the sort of things that we're discussing. So, because it's so new and innovative, like a lot of the laws haven't been created in the world. So, like you have to like make rules and make terms and conditions to apply for all of these situations, so then you can enforce it. And like we updating the law, and that's getting hashed and being put in the smart contract, like the comments that'll show up on every scan and stuff, the hash of it. I don't think we'll put the actual full hash within the smart contract itself, just because on Ethereum it's it'd make the transactions too expensive. But we will make it so it's like clear, all of these rules, and these are all things that are revolving all the time, so the laws are constantly changing. And like the whole point of like in the space right now, where now's the time to innovate and set those rules and learn what those rules are, and the regulators will regulate based on what occurs as well. So like now's the time to do it, and we need to help define what those rules are going to be.
Excellent, thank you.
What was the second question similar, or
Yeah, it was about from a producer standpoint, how to clear licensing for samples.
Well, if you were the owner of that blockchain, we want to encourage people to do creative things with the blockchains and to use them for things. So if you were the owner of that blockchain, you could sample it. But if you didn't own it, I guess, you know, if you sampled it, then the owner would be within their right to kind of say like, oh, you can't use this for that because you don't have the license to do so.
Excellent, thank you.
So seeing as it's generative, are the original tracks, so those like aren't technically generative, right? The ones that are NFTs as well?
So it depends. Like, so some of the ones that we describe as original tracks are all have the potential to be generative. So all the layers can be remixed and put with other songs, and sometimes it might be the same chord from the same original track because someone's written their vocal to a particular chord, so we called it an original track for that reason. But then you can split all the parts up and they can be heard with lots of other things. There are some free structure, it's described as free structure one of ones, which aren't to a certain BPM. Those ones cannot be split up, and they're all just one of ones by certain artists who we said you could submit a number each, and some people did, and we've used their music as well.
Does the generator that y'all use decide the names, or are those like handwritten or chosen?
So we decided that the name of the song would be after the top line, which is usually a vocal, but it could also be an instrumental melody. So we assigned names to each top line, like a range of names that were, you know, maybe quoting lyrics from the song or whatever. And then if a vocal appears, say, 5 times, then we would take, you know, 5 names from that list, and those would be the names of the songs. So yeah, each NFT is individually named according to the top line that it has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just gonna say the generative versions, I was like surprised to see the different generative versions of the top lines that I had done had like lyrics pulled out. So like Broken Clock was one of them, where in the song I say like a broken clock is right twice a day. So the name of it was Broken Clock, even though the song was called Other Woman. So I liked that aspect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's handy when you can't. Sorry, go.
So we wrote a few names and like it matched them up. Like the original would have a particular name that the artist had given it, and then we did pull some lyrics, but it was manual. Like we chose which lyrics to put in. There are a couple of songs actually where it generated all the names for all the songs, and some of them I was like, oh no, I don't like the one we've gone for there anymore. So there are a couple where they are bespoke, but most of them are like from a pool.
It's handy when you can't decide what to name your song, so you just have 5 versions and five different names.
In the one of the Medium articles that y'all have, it mentions sort of digital and in real life, I want to say like rewards. What would be some sort of ideas for what that would look like?
For the in real life, I think
For holders, like moving after the mint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you
so-
answered that.
Yeah. So I think like at NFT Bristol when we were talking yesterday, like the metaverse is not ready yet, and like there's a lot live music is. So like in terms of like how we reward people, like there's lots of things like we'll be doing simultaneously that will take time to develop. So like when the blocktunes are, so like music NFTs have never had their time, so at some point they will. And then when those songs are being listened to and it's the first one that have done it of this type, then you've got a market to do gigs, and we've got loads of musicians involved in blocktunes who would want to play gigs. Like, and they could play blocktunes. We could vote on what blocktunes get paired, and that could be like the headline gig for the venue. But like, you could also get the musicians to then be all the supporting acts as well. So you can. There's lots of things you can do that, and then I know like with music, collaboration is more. It makes more sense because people are experimenting in many different ways rather than just doing generative art. So, for example, like I know a NFT project that I'd using gig tickets where they reinvest like gig tickets from artists for them in long-term revenue. So if you can partner with people like that as well, or people that are doing metaverse gigs and like the really good metaverse gigs where it's in a venue, but then like everyone outside the venue can also see it as like a metaverse gig. That's really nice. So there's like all these different people experimenting, and we don't know where the space will go, but the opportunities are endless. So it's tapping into all of these different things. So definitely live gigs, like metaverse gigs when the world is ready. But then in terms of rewarding the users, like you already own the copyright, which is a lot more intrinsic value than what most NFTs give you ownership of as well. Like maybe like this is just completely off the top of my head. Maybe if you own a blockchain, like if you were to release another collection, you could choose to get one that gets generated from one of the musicians in your stems in your song. So like there's certain things you can do, like in the creativity you can pull, is very interesting. And then if you create a metaverse band as well, that is all NFTs, like the Gorillas, like then you've got like a parallel real world, the musicians playing, but also in the metaverse playing as well.
And we wanted to give community access to the tool as well eventually, so that maybe the next group of musicians can create their own version of Blocktunes.
Cool. And then y'all also just have a really cool community. I like all the games that y'all do, especially the like guess whether it's the original or the generative. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has. I was quite interested by some of the answers that people were giving in your Discord. Like, it's so fun, like knowing which one is the original, but seeing all the guesses coming in. And I was actually quite surprised by the second quiz we did. It was a vocal by you, Joe. I'm not sure if you saw this one or how you feel about it, but everyone got it wrong. And everyone thought the generative one was the original. They had some pretty cool chords.
No, I didn't actually see that. That's funny.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'll look
sure
at
if
it.
it was... Sorry?
I said, oh yeah, I'll go look at it.
Yeah, have a look. I'm not sure if it was like the kind of herd mentality once someone had thought it was number 2 that everybody was going for it, but or whether it really, I think it did sound like quite a legit song.
Yeah. Well, my
So
music's a bit chaotic, so maybe that's why.
I mean, it was quite.
But
I was actually really happy because the whole
yeah, it's
idea
like
was
proof.
to.
It's like proof of concept, isn't it? That like everyone's getting it wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of to say like whether it's the original or whether it's not, this song has value.
Yeah.
And different people are going to gravitate towards different things as well. So some people might hear the original but actually prefer one of the generative versions because there's something about it that they like. And we wanted to create a system whereby these generative songs are legit songs in themselves that don't sound generative, like, you know, maybe some of them sound even more original than the original. So yeah, it was very cool to see that.
Yeah, I think that's
I have to
something.
say, yeah, sorry, man, you go on.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it was mentioned earlier, but like, I think that's something really cool about this project that, you know, when we were talking about like the aesthetic versus kind of rarity concepts, like you're getting a lot of value from you know, these NFTs are like meaningful. And I think they could really like, they really, you know, it's like they're actual pieces of art in a way that, you know, some NFT projects maybe don't feel like that. I think that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. And a lot of the musicians have poured a lot of heart and soul into their music for this. So sometimes generative music gets the criticism like, oh, does it sound a bit AI, a bit robotic? You know, does it have soul? But we're kind of here to change that stereotype because the music is created by the musicians, and there's a huge amount of soul in it. So yeah, hopefully when people hear the music, they'll realize that.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's amazing how many artists I think actually really hit their stride in this collection. I think there was something about the freedom that they had kind of releasing as a collective rather than having to release under whatever kind of guise they'd been kind of you know, curating up till now, where there were various expectations around, you know, what they might have to do to follow on from their previous record. I certainly felt a lot of freedom and explored genres that I would never have put myself into, or I wouldn't have thought I would have explored. And yeah, I just had great fun.
And some bangers came out of it. I think all of us in this room had that experience where something came out that we would never maybe would have written otherwise. Like I know, like Crystal, like you and Dan were kind of saying like, oh, like I would have never really chosen those chords, but the songs that you wrote which sound so amazing. And yeah, Mandy and Joe as well, it'll be quite cool to hear like how the process was for you guys.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Al about this before, and well, all of you, that I did find it really liberating. And also when I got on board, I think I think I was speaking to Phoebe and she was like, yeah, the deadline's in 2 weeks or something. I had to write 3 songs in 2 weeks, you know, on top of like everything else I was doing. And I was like, okay, just kind of went into the studio and it just happened like really quickly. Yeah, as you're saying, like that kind of feeling of slightly being out of yourself, like you don't have the burden of like thinking this is my project, this is like, you know, my life. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think that a lot of musicians felt the same.
Yeah,
It was-
definitely.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say that it definitely, like, for me, I was writing like one song a day, but beforehand, and then I had taken a break from that. And then it was like when Alex contacted me, I just kind of was like, okay, well, I think it was like 2 weeks out and I needed to do like 2 or 3 songs. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I caught COVID. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to record these on this same mic that I'm using to talk. And just like get them out of the way. So it was really cool to have the freedom of like, because I ended up doing a country song, which I would have never, ever done. And so it was cool to just have like, you have to pump these out really quick and they have to be to these chord progressions and they can be any genre. And so, yeah, that was a very cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to say, it kind of being part of, as I said before, the central node where every single day we would receive a new song from somebody else, and as we approach the deadlines, we get more and more songs just arriving, and we were just so excited as we got this, amazing material that just as I said before, like a lot of people, I genuinely think it brought out their best artistry. And then also to be on the other side of that when we started looking at the generative aspects of it, and that was the real experiment. Like, is this going to fucking work at all? And it was in a way the most satisfying part of the project, because it's kind of this very, very extreme creativity in a very, very short space of time. Like, you press 4 buttons, like you say to yourself, this vocal, these chords, this bass, this drums, and it's like the quickest remix you will ever make. Yeah, a lot of them blew our minds. That we were like, what? Why? How is that working? And they did.
It was a cool experiencing. It was so cool to see like, like, oh, this works really well with that, and we'd have never kind of expected it, or the tool would pull something out and it would work. So it was it was good.
Are there ever some where the tool pulls something together and it just clearly does not work?
Oh
yeah, there was some that we laughed so hard. Like, oh, I think Mandy, like one of your vocals came out with like a really fast folk guitar, like ding 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 ding.
It was so funny. We just wet ourselves.
You had done like a really emotional vocal, and like, in a way, I kind of almost liked it, but I didn't want to put it out there because it kind of almost made it seem like a joke song, and like,
You
whatever.
can make like a blockchain bloopers collection. Or Blocktunes bloopers.
That's a funny idea, actually.
Yeah.
Because I bet some of them get pretty funny. Like, just clearly those don't mix well, but it could still, I don't know. There are tons of scenes in different, like, music fits for so many different things. So
Blockchain bloopers is a good idea. Thank you, Sam.
And then I'll buy the blooper.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Yeah, I would too. I feel like that'd be pretty fun. David Elvian has some more questions about sort of how the IP works. They're asking, do you agree with IP laws like they're in general right now, like patents on content, or would you go more towards a fair use and remix mindset? Do you see an overlap there?
So so they are complicated, and what blockchain is doing is it is like pulling all of this into question with what you get from IP law, and where is the value in the ownership of the IP and those sort of things, and like it will definitely get abused because that's like, so I lean obviously more towards like things should be more free use, but also that like there's value in owning certain things. But like in terms of blockchain, like you can copy all the Bored Apes, do all whatever versions of you want, and you can't stop people doing it, and people do it again and again and again, and it'll get abused, and you can't stop it because it's all public. And that'll be the same with music as well. Like, we expect those things to happen, but the value is going to be that that you own it on the blockchain. You can prove it, like it's your NFT, and then you've created a brand around your song, like, or whatever it is, or you've used your song as part of your brand. So like I think, like, obviously it's great for things to move more free use, and the law is going to get challenged and all that now, and they'll just have to do some things that they have to, like, because you can't stop it and it's impossible to regulate, and like the FCA in the UK, for example, have done certain laws which make it impossible to sell NFTs, like, and comply to the current rules, and they're going to have to get to a point where it's like, do we let all the businesses move out of the UK and have a subsidiary in the UK, and then they don't get taxed by us anymore, and we're being actively hostile to crypto and NFTs, or like the UK have already said like they're creating their own NFT, but and that they want to be like a hub for crypto, but then they make laws like this, so like they'll get to the point where they have to reevaluate it, and they'll either change the laws or they won't, and then people will like their companies will be in different countries, and those countries will be the ones that you abide by their rules. Like, so it's going to be a free for all, and we don't know which laws and rules will stay in play. And there's going to be a push towards free use just because of the publicness of blockchain, and it's going to be really, really interesting, maybe terrifying, but and exciting at the same time.
It's a good way to describe regulation. Exciting and terrifying.
Like, regulation needs to come, like it does.
Yeah.
Like there's loads of terrible things happening. Like there's lots of influencers who do some really horrendous things and they're getting away with it. But yeah, so regulation does need to come. But it's it's interesting because they have to understand it as well. So they have to understand crypto and NFTs, and most of them don't. So then they make laws and regulation that just doesn't work in practice, or is like unenforceable, or just like moving countries out. So they all need to sharp up the learning as well. We're all learning about it. We know that we can't, like, you can't learn everything. Like, we only know like a drop in the bucket. But the governments need to learn about it too, because they can't make laws that just like don't make sense, and some of the things that they say just means that they don't understand it. So yeah, it's an interesting situation that the planet's in. But regulation always massively lags behind tech, like it has with social media and like all the Silicon Valley stuff and the usership of data and stuff, and then blockchain is like a move away from that. But yeah, I'll stop talking about the philosophy on it.
I love doing that here. Least Comic Standing also had a funny way of referring to the project, the Jackson Pollock of music. I don't know if y'all have heard that before, but I feel like it's a good way of describing it.
I like that.
That's funny. We've got a Jackson Pollock idea as part of the art that represents who the musicians are on each blockchain, and that's been an idea since like December, I think, but we'll get there at some point. But so I really like the Jackson Pollock of music. But at the moment the animation is created by Crystal, which is, I think, an experience in itself. Like, it's quite nice, like in a dark room, to have that on the screen playing the Blocktunes, and it looks really smart. Like I love that, and it was exactly what we asked for. That was a creative process in itself as well.
Yeah, I loved hearing Crystal talk about the process around how she actually managed to do this. The fact that you actually made an algorithm to like match the visuals with the music.
Yeah, it was kind of funny also because like doing animation for 500 songs, obviously we can never do that. So they were saying do the BPM. So I basically just started with a click track, and then I recorded some random sounds over the top of it to try to like fill in some space, so there was some like differences in them. Because if I did it to like, say I just picked one song and I just made an animation to that specifically, then it would only specifically work with that song, and it might kind of work with the other ones. So we were like, let's try to find a happy medium. So I made just basically a track with just sounds that matched the BPM, and then had just like layers of sounds. So they line up with the BPM. They don't line up perfectly, other than we did line up perfectly for the one of ones. Those ones I actually dropped, and that's where I used the algorithm individually for the song and not just like my click track. But yeah, basically in After Effects, you can like you use programming in After Effects and you basically turn the song into like a data, and then you can point all of your layers to the data and tell it like, oh, if when it hits this level, I want it to fade out. When it hits this level, I want it to come back in. So
Yeah, so cool. We had a lot of people say they loved how the like sound meter timed up with the song, and I think like the art looks like way better than I ever thought it would. Like, I think it's good that it's kind of simple, like with the B, like we wanted it to be about the music, and I think that the artwork, like, it is about the music, and it looks good, so hats off.
It does a good job like lifting it up rather than kind of being what people focus on.
Yeah,
Like, in terms of-
exactly.
yeah, like brings up the music and helps focus on the music too with like a darker background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're asking about the traits of the colors, like, so the colors are all color coded to certain traits. So if it's a certain chord progression and a certain BPM, then it'll be a certain color, and whether it's original or whether it's a generative one, it'll be a different color. And then all of the black backgrounds are the ones that are generative, and then all the white backgrounds are the free structure ones, so the
Didn't
ones
even
that
notice that
aren't
there was some with
generative.
white background.
Yeah.
I go look now.
Mhm. Do we want to play any songs or?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
have you listened to your song? Because you got one and it's been revealed, isn't it?
I have.
Oh, which song
It
did you
sounds
get?
pretty great too. Cork in that, and I honestly really like it. You were mentioning that we can sub it out. I don't think I would sub this one out because this was one of my favorite ones in the game as well. The vocals that are in it. Let me just make sure we can hear it.
Sandy, which one is this here?
What do you number
This,
1?
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That lagging is my computer, by the way. It does not like listening to it from Opensea.
Still gotta check my friends, late night still laying low from feds. Still live a life that's blessed. Still gotta thank the Lord, cause I'm still cheating death, of course, switching lanes.
Here, TD, do you want to actually try to play this from your computer?
Yeah. Yep. That's what I'm just typing that to you. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, if you want to just ping me the link.
Yeah, let me just send this to you. Sorry about that. OpenSea videos don't like playing on my computer. I don't know why.
Yeah, the OpenSea video is obviously not ideal. Like, we are in the teething stages of Web3, and like part of what we're doing is making it more accessible with all the videos and those sort of things as well. So like on the website, you'll be able to listen to all the Blocktunes soon, and the animation.
Will I be able to download like the master recording as the owner of it?
Yeah. So that's already actually built. It's just not released yet, and then you can just connect your wallet to the website and download your blockchain.
Still in the ends, still in the blacked out Benz, bag of crow and a box of blems. Still gotta check my friends, late night still laying low from feds. Still live a life that's blessed. Still gotta thank the Lord, cause I'm still cheating death, of course, switching lanes as I race to the morgue. Still got love for the haters, I still pity them too. Still show down for my ravers, I'm still billing up too. Yeah, and I'm still doing this and that. Still doing this and that. And I'm still doing this and that. And I'm still doing this and that. Still doing this and still doing this and that. Yo, yeah. I got something real brown in my car. Pretty girls wanna circle, so my bro tryna round them all up. And they know about us. Turn up, show down at club. You can ask my bros, hear me now, got the whole place tons. Whole place jumpy, everything mad when we land. Me plus 9 when I came with the gang. Hybrid only, also still from the ends, just the council flat. Yeah, still out here doing this and that. And I'm still doing this and that. And I'm still doing this and that. Still doing this and that.
Pretty cool stuff. And then it just loops, I guess, right? That was pretty good.
On Opensea, yeah, and then yeah. So that I think in that song, I think is that drums from Joe?
Yeah.
they're my drums.
Yeah. So that's Joe's drums, and then the chords are from someone. So Crystal invited me to a Telegram group, and I met a musician through that, and that's who the chords have come from in that song. It's called Myth, and then the rap is I think KXR. And do we know them from when we recorded?
Yes.
Crystal and 10 other musicians in a recording studio, and they had a lot of rap artists in that recording studio. And we said to them, "Oh, we're kind of finishing up, but we're looking for a few more rap artists." So that's how we got them. So like, and then those have been mixed together, and those musicians would have never been collaborating together otherwise.
Yeah, none of like would have never met otherwise. Well, I never met. Still, these musicians have still never met. But yeah, it's quite cool. I like that vocal. It kind of works with like more upbeat, bit of positive chords. Like it was like the beat that it was originally with was quite upbeat. But it also works with like kind of dark ones. So it's kind of interesting how like the instrumentation like gives it a new like framing and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Those drums we called the Web3 drums, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Web3 factory.
I think I've renamed them because there's quite a few things called Web3. So I think it's the Web3 factory.
Oh, nice.
Because it's industrial sounded.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right, Sandy, we're about at an hour. Did we want to roll into some games giveaways or something?
Yeah, we could run that marbles race.
Yeah. Do you need what do you need from me?
I just got to get that booted up.
Okay. All right. If our audience has any questions, go ahead and fire away. We'll try to ask them as we do this giveaway. You said we're running marbles. Is that right, Sandy?
Yeah. Somebody in Discord was asking for that earlier, so I figured we could show everybody some marbles. Are y'all familiar at all with marbles on stream?
I am. I don't think you're asking me, though.
I'm not familiar with it personally.
I've seen it done.
Cool.
Make sure I can get it to work.
Yeah. So do they need to add their wallet address for marbles? I don't think so, right? Is it
No, we
just
have to DM them afterward.
Yeah. So let's do a type play, I believe.
Yep. It'll also show on the screen once we get to there.
Cool.
But no need to type play yet because I got to get this up.
Cool. Let me see if we hit all of our questions that we had written down.
Do y'all want to listen to any more of the songs too? We can go through some of the other Blocktunes.
It'd be nice to play one with Crystal on or something. Like because we've played some rap, haven't we? So maybe to play some non-rap might be cool.
If you want to do one with me, you should do what's it called? The Into the Sun one, because it has Dan too.
Nice.
How to have it all? Did we send that one, Alex?
Let me check. Yeah, I sent. No, I don't think how to have it all is in that one. I can send it though.
Meanwhile, we could play a different one.
Yeah. Did you get? I sent a WeTransfer with 10 MP3s in to the Sanyika at NFT Gamer.
Oh yeah, I forgot to forward those to TD.
Yeah, go ahead. And
do that right now.
I'll get those fired up.
You can just play them on the website. If you're going, so anyone can do this. Like you're welcome to do it. We'll make it so it's easy to do on the website soon. So if you type in blocktunes.org/listen,
Oh, right.
you can listen to all of the tracks on there, and so you can play them quite easily. And then we can just tell you which song to play.
All of the minted songs, right?
Yeah, all the minted songs, all the revealed songs are there to listen to. So I've just been listening to them as like one big playlist.
So I can just click at this top here, and then we're good, right?
Yeah.
I try to be more hopeful. All the human foibles that we don't see and we pass on to machines made in our image. Will say who dies and who lives. So let's make sure we get this right. Let's find a way, let's find a way to navigate this mortal maze. Let's find a way. Let's find a way, let's find a way. We've got to change to stay the same. Let's find a way through. A twisted mirror image of my own words and comments. A poison stone thrown in the well. And now we make connections. The poison spreads much deeper. I could be taught to hate myself. Let's find a way, let's find a way to navigate this mortal maze. Let's find a way. Let's find a way, let's find a way. We've got to change to stay the same. Let's find a way through.
I think, TD, are you still here?
Yeah. Can you guys still hear the music?
No.
It just
Just cut
it's
out.
just finished now.
No. Okay. Let me see if I can't figure this out. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were to play another one, it's called "Heard You Had a Lot to Say," the one that Crystal mentioned before.
No, that's a different one, Jack.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Yeah.
It has Dan in it as well, that one, doesn't it?
You
I
want
forwarded you the
play-
files
That's
as well,
Salvation.
TD.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let me see if
Sorry.
I can't figure out how to get this to play in the background, because you're gonna share your screen also, right, Sam? I think I have these downloaded already. Maybe I don't.
That generative song was really nice. I actually don't think I'd listened to that combination the full way through before. Like I knew all the different traits and stuff, but hearing them together, I think that's one of my favorite generative versions of that song.
That was the first one to be revealed. The first one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the first one to get revealed. It was the first one meant to get revealed, but Crazy Cars was technically the first one. But yeah.
Nice.
That was it was Justin's chord progression, right?
It was Justin's chords. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're nice, them.
Yeah. Well, he's
I think
he's such a great session musician. So, like, whenever I want like some really classy strings or classy anything organic, really, he's my guy.
And were they your drums on that?
Not my drums.
Oh.
I don't know whose drums were they.
Maybe they were Justin's as well.
Could have been.
I think it's yours. I think it was the long wind. No, okay. Well,
Gambo,
No, I
do you
don't
know
know.
if it's in this folder that you sent?
I
one
think
that
it was
we're looking
Alex
for to
who
play.
sent the folder. Are you talking about the Wii transfer?
Yeah, I just downloaded it so I can try to play. I guess I can just try to play all of them.
Yeah, I think it's best just I reckon we just play it anyhow.
Is that coming through?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear it.
Okay,
You got it figured out?
maybe.
Imagination is endless, a universe of the senses. Don't be scared, I'm here between the lines, the shimmer falling out.
Joe, I think this is the one everyone thought was the original.
Yeah.
Between the lines of live and breathe with me. Night's gonna make me mad with the dreams I have pointed at love. Sweet medicinal vision break my fall. Pointed at love. In and out of together, the love we make is forever. Close your eyes, I'm waiting on the edge of vision just for you. Why waste time on the sunlight? Blinding truth doesn't feel right. I'm so ready, hung between the dreams of bodies folding in. Night's gonna make me mad with the dreams I have pointed at love. Sweet medicinal vision break my fall. Pointed at love. Night's gonna make you mad with the dreams you have. Pointed at Night's gonna make you mad with the dreams you have. Pointed at
So we have a question here from Alcy. I have a weird question that you may have answered, and I missed the answer to. I see you have the violinist as one of your musicians. Are you open to more non-traditional musicians, professional brass player, eclectic jazz bands? Will you be recording more beyond this, or using the tracks you've laid for the basis of everything going forward?
Well, professional brass player, we had a couple. We had an amazing classical trombonist and a jazz saxophonist. And then, you mentioned also the violinist who's, like a multi-instrumentalist, right, Alex? So he was playing a few things. Non-traditional musicians, is that meaning like non kind of classical instruments, or like, I mean, either way, we have like so many different styles within the collection. Like I kind of came from a sort of classical background, so I did bring in some musicians that were kind of that background as well. But then we also have folk, rock, pop, rap. We had a few grime artists that we wanted to kind of bring the London scene as well. We had some US rappers as well. So loads of different styles. And then will we be recording more beyond this, or using the tracks we've laid for the base of everything going forward? So I think we can still do more with the musical traits that we currently have in this collection, but this is our first collection proving the concept with 501 songs, and the next drop would be new music. Like I say, we can do more with this collection, meaning, you know, Alex mentioned bringing music supervisors who might want to choose like the different traits that they want. So they might hear, you know, one of the traits that's in the songs at the moment and say we'd like that drum, and that would be a possibility. But yeah, the next release, I've already got a few ideas for it, but it would be new music.
So should we play the rest of the songs as well? I think there's 8 more to play.
I'd say nothing about it's traditional. Like I'd say, like even with, I remember the Crazy Carl one where we said to Joe, all right, can you just do a song to these vocals from 4 different artists that we're putting together? We're gonna chop them up and make like one big rap vocal from 4 different musicians rapping, and then can you kind of make chords and drums that are just like crazy, like can you do that pitch, and could you do it like maybe in the next day or 2? So like that was like not traditional by any sense of the means.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, I'm gonna play these. I hope these don't like overpower y'all talking. Are they too loud?
No, oh cool. This is one of mine. The house track.
And then we were thinking while we listen to this and talk about it, we could run the marbles race.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Exclamation point play to enter.
Sandy, what are people playing for on this marbles? Do we say?
I have the Aokiverse passport to give away if we want to
Nice.
use that.
Sweet.
I like the fade out at the end of that one. All right. Last warning for marbles. I'm gonna start it up, so 10 seconds to get in.
Imagination is endless, a universe of the senses. Don't be scared, I'm here between the lines. A shimmer falling out of sight. Too long in the daylight. This is real if it feels right. Hold me steady. Read between the lines of live and breathe with me. Life's gonna make me mad with the dreams I have pointed at love. Sweet medicinal vision break my fall. Pointed at love, pointed at love. In and out together, the love we make is forever. Close your eyes, I'm waiting on the edge of vision just for you. Why waste time on the sunlight? Blinding truth doesn't feel right. I'm so ready, hung between the dreams of bodies folding in. Night's gonna make me mad with the dreams I have pointed at love. Sweet medicinal vision break the fall. Pointed at love, pointed at love. With the dreams you have, pointed at love. Night's gonna make you mad. With the dreams you have, pointed at love.
Let me learn about your motion. I can show you true devotion won't sway, so long as you're remaining open. I'ma keep on giving you this love, and I'll never deny emotion. Can't prepare for the ocean, so just let your emotions flow in. But know it's on to you I'm holding. Hope you know where you're going, 'cause tonight we're going your way. Tonight we're going your way. No second guessing, no compromising. Anywhere you wanna go, you know I'm riding your way. Tonight we go the whole way. No second guessing, no compromising. Anywhere you wanna go, you know I'm riding. Let me focus on you. Show me every angle, I want every view. Won't be no room for distractions. I pay attention to your every action, to where energy matching. Just trying to be on your wave. We can go all night and then go all day. However you want it with me is okay, so long as we can keep doing it your way. Your way, your way. Tonight we're going your way, yeah. No second guessing, no compromising. Anywhere you wanna go, you know alright, yeah. Your way. Tonight we go the whole way, yeah. No second guessing, no compromising. Anywhere you wanna go, you know.
All right, Sandy, what more do we have for the Blocktunes team before we let them go?
Thank you for all the details.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool project. I've loved listening to all the songs, and like what we were kind of talking about earlier, it doesn't really matter which one's the original because they're all good songs to listen to, and they're pieced together well. I do think it's cool to know that there are some bloopers in there.
Yeah, you've inspired me to maybe bring the bloopers a bit more to the forefront. I mean, I say bloopers, they kind of still work musically, but it's just like sometimes stylistically you're like, oh, that's kind of, yeah, an interesting combination, like folk guitar with a kind of sad vocal and like house drums. You're like, interesting. But yeah, well, thanks so much for having us on and for like doing the quizzes with us and everything. Like, we'd like to announce we are now public. We've just gone public, and yeah, you can mint now on the website. It's on Ethereum.
Nice.
The rest will be revealed after selling out. But yeah, so that's exciting for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, the 0.18 ETH each.
0.18 ETH each. Very good.
I feel obliged to point out that the bloopers didn't actually make it into the 501. We had a sort of a culling period where we I think we generated 800 in total, maybe a bit more, and then we kind of picked our favorites.
Yeah, so it has the ability to generate like something like 800,000 or something ridiculous, like insane amounts. Like if you do all the possibilities, but we generated about 800 and then cut them down, so then it was 501.
Awesome. All right, Gambo, Phoebe, Al, Mandy, Joe, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us. Sam, anything for our audience before we let them go?
Thank you everybody for tuning in, and yeah, definitely check out their website, check out their mint, public mint now. It's a lot of fun. I think the reveal day is going to be a whole lot of fun, seeing what songs we got. Yeah, definitely a project worth checking out.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. And you guys have a great day.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. This has been fun. A lot of fun.